In corner 1, we have the Aputure MC coming in at $90. In corner 2, the $19.99 Vitopal P6. Let's put these suckers head to head and see if this little light can hold its own against a light that's 4 times as much. We live in absolutely revolutionary times if you are in the video and film industry. We have seen absolutely incredible gains in the last 10 years in cameras, in drones, and one of the areas that has gotten me most excited has been in lighting. And one of the things that I really love in our industry is the ability to get these small, portable LED lights and put them out there for accent lighting, just little splashes of light in places. I know when I walk in a room, the first thing I'm doing is trying to figure out how I can add just a little bit of visual interest. It could be a splash of color, maybe want some color contrast, and these little LED lights have been awesome in the last couple years. Now, we all know that the industry standard really is the Aputure MC. It is a great light, so versatile, that it's pretty much used on almost every set I end up going on nowadays. Now, I was recently contacted by a company called Vitopal to review this. This is the Vitopal P6 RGB light. And when they actually contacted me, they said, hey, how does this compare to the Aputure MC? And I decided, let's check it out. So they did send me one. I was not paid for this review in any way, shape, or form, but full disclosure, they did send me a copy of this for me to review and give an honest review of, which is what I'm doing now. Now, I was really impressed with this. Now, before I go into comparing how these two lights show off, what I want to do, let me just start off right away and go over the features of this light so you can see just how it operates and what the top aspects of, and then we'll go and compare this to an Aputure MC. All right, so let's take a look at these lights. They basically have an incredibly small form factor. You can see it fits right in the palm of my hand. It's got this nice square, basically outline that it lets me put this just about anywhere. This is great for vlogging, it's great for putting it in cars, and it's great for eye lights, and it's great for accent lights. So the shape of it is really, really nice. Now, a couple things to know. This is a bicolor light starting out, which means it has a Kelvin temperature from 2500 up to 9000 Kelvin, which is a good range. The other thing that's great about this light is it is RGB, which means I can get not just bicolor, but I can get almost any color that I want. And it gives you a great range of colors to get on here. The other thing that's really nice about this is it does have the standard range of FX. So if you need some kind of little FX, these little lights can pack the punch for you. The other thing about these that I think really is awesome is the fact that they come with a cold shoe mount. And if you look here, you can see this cold shoe mount is awesome. It's not only a cold shoe mount, it also has a 1/4 inch thread down on the bottom. And what this means is that I can mount this super easy, super fast, right on the top of my camera or my cage or my handles, just about anywhere. It's really, really awesome. And on top of that, this is amazing. If you look all around the side of it, the 3 sides that doesn't have the hot shoe and cold shoe mount, there are additional cold shoe pops here to put the other lights. And what that means is that you can actually take these lights, and this is what I consider awesome, and check this out. You can click them together, and boom, you instantly have a bigger light source. And if you look, because it's so versatile, you can make a whole grid. You could actually take a number of these and spread them out and actually have a light wand if you wanted. You can make squares. It just is so awesome and versatile, and they're so cheap. I just think this is by far one of my favorite parts of it, is that you can take this and really just make it and jerry-rig it. It's like a Lego of lights. Super, super awesome. Now, the other part about this that I think is great is, as you can see, this thing is super bright, especially for the amount. Ooh, I blinded myself there. Anyway, this thing is super bright, so you can use this as a vlogging light in bright sunlight. It has no problem doing that, so really, really nice. And really, the other aspect of it is that it is rated, they say, at 97 CRI. So it's got pretty good color temperature. I mean, I would say using lights like this for the most part, this isn't gonna be a key light. It's mostly for accents and stuff. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at how to operate this before we get into comparison. It's very, very simple, and in my opinion, this thing is actually easier to operate than an Aputure MC. It's just very intuitive. You can literally pick this thing out of the box and operate it in seconds how it goes. So if you look here, aside from the mounts on the side, we basically cut on the light. It's got a power switch, and then it's basically got a switch where you can switch between two different modes, and then you can go between modes. So I got color temperature, I've got RGB, and I've got my effects mode, and then back to color temperature. And if I want to switch between the details of that, I can switch between power and output. So if I have 3200, I can basically pick this up, hold it down, go up to whatever I want to do. And then if I want to boost the power, I can hit the S button, which is the setting mode, and I can go ahead and switch around. And it's really nice. Now, when you want to go through RGB, you can hold it down. It has a 360-degree setting, so you can hold it, and you can just see here how it rotates through the colors to get on there. Now, the one difference between this and the Aputure MC is why you can do RGB. You cannot control the saturation of that, so you have a little less control for that. But I do think you can also control that to a degree by how bright it is. But if you're someone that wants precise control, the Aputure MC does give you saturation levels, which this does not. But then again, the Aputure MC does come in at over four times the price. Last thing is that, just to show you the modes, you have the TV flicker here, which is great. We also have candlelight, campfire, fireworks. Woo! We have emergency vehicles, ambulance. This is basic police, I think. Then you have an SOS, which I guess if you need help on a set, maybe you can get it. And then it has basically a thing where it cycles through the lights. And then last but not least, we have paparazzi mode, which acts like flash. And we actually have a party mode. And last but not least, lightning. So get some lightning flashes there. Ah! And you have a bad bulb. Pretty standard FX that are on most RGB lights these days. Okay, so now that we've seen what the Vitopal P6 is and how it kind of works, let's go ahead and really jump into the comparison to this Aputure MC, which is, I'm sure, what a lot of you are interested in. Now, the first thing we got to bring up, of course, is the price. The Aputure MC is a great light, but it clocks in at $90. This little Vitopal P6, you can get it on Amazon right now for $19.99. That makes it less than 1/4 of the price, which means you can get 4 of these for the price of less than 1 of these. And if you get 5 of them, you'll spend $10 more than you would on just 1 of these, which just the number aspect of that alone means you got a lot more versatility in this light right off the bat. Now, if we look at build quality, they both are well built. Now, there's no doubt the Aputure is better constructed. I mean, it is metal. The Vitopal is plastic, but I'll be honest, it's pretty hard to do plastic. And I will tell you just from experience, I got these lights and I have been playing with them on a number of shoots over the last 2 or 3 weeks. I have dropped them, they have fallen off stuff, me being clumsy, not the light's fault, and they have held up really, really good to the beating that I've given them. I've been very impressed with their durability. The other thing you'll notice when you look at the difference is the form factor. The Aputure MC is more of a rectangular shape, whereas the Vitopal is a square. Now, this isn't necessarily bad or good, it's just different. But if you do like the effect of the rectangular look, well, here is where the Vitopal really continues to shine. Because you can hook them together, check this out. I can put 2 of these together and I get a rectangular type shape, very, very similar to the Aputure MC, and it's actually a little bit bigger and it gives a very similar light source to it. The other thing that I really like about these Vitopals, as far as the basic build construction goes, is when I look at these, you can see right at the front that the top glass is frosted right from the start. I really, really like having the frosted glass. It gives me a nice diffused look right out of the camera. If I look here at the Aputure MC, you can see the default setting is not nearly as diffused as the Vitopal. And I'll put them here side by side just to see. You can see the difference in diffusion there that comes out of that. Now, the Aputure MC does come with the diffusion sleeve that comes with it, which is great, but that does knock off some of the light output of it. Now, as far as light power goes, if you put these at 100%, the Aputure MC is more powerful than the Vitopal P6. And I just basically laid these out on the table. At 6 inches, I got about 2,800 lux from the P6 and about 4,000 lux from the MC. Now, that being said, most of the time we use Aputure MCs, we do use it with the diffusion sleeve on, which knocks about another 500 lux off. So the lights is brighter, but the good news is if you were to take two of these and chain these together, they actually come in at 3990 lux, which is almost as bright as a naked MC. So if you feel like you need that power, you can actually put two of these together. The form is similar, the light output is almost identical, and it will cost $40 total versus $90 for just one. So just a little something to know about light output. Now, light output is good, but we've got to talk about color accuracy, and this is one area where the Aputure MC is much better than the Vitopal P6. As a matter of fact, I would say probably the greatest weakness of the Vitopal P6 is that while it says it does 2,500 to 9,000 Kelvin, the Kelvin temperature is not an accurate reading. You can almost tell that by your eye. And just to kind of let you know, I did do a test. The MC at 3,200, when I did it on a color checker, I actually got a 3,100 Kelvin, and at 5,600, I actually got 5,000. So it was pretty close to the range. The P6, on the other hand, when I put it at 3,200 Kelvin, the actual color reading I got was 3,070, which is pretty close, pretty accurate to the MC. But when I got to the cooler range, when I got up to 5,600, it measured in at 4,070 on my Kelvin temperature. So very big difference. I don't consider that a huge deal breaker. For the most point, you're going to be using these lights as accent lights, and you can dial in the temperature up by hand. But if you're a stickler for color accuracy and wanting to be exactly the same and matching, you need to know that these lights, the Kelvin temperature is a little deceptive. You are going to have to adjust and tweak that. And just to show that in kind of a rough scientific thing, I have both of these lights set to 3,200. You can see the difference right there and the difference between the Aputure and the Vitopal. And then if I put them both up to 5,600 on the table, you can see a marked difference between the color temperatures as it goes. So there's definitely a color shift here on the Vitopal P6 that you need to be aware going into it. Now, I will talk about the mounting options here of the two lights, and this is where I think the Vitopal really honestly kicks the Aputure's butt. And that is the fact that the Aputure essentially has an incredible magnet on the back. I'll give it that. It's a fantastically powerful magnet. But really, if you want to mount an Aputure MC on anything, you have a 1/4 inch option, and that is pretty much it. You can see here, there's nothing else on the Aputure MC. Whereas the Vitopal really comes in, it's got this great cold shoe, which I absolutely love. And then look, it's got extra cold shoes actually built into it that you can daisy chain and add things in there. So once again, you can sit there. You can make lights. You can basically put this in any combination that you want. You could actually make pretty much anything you want to do with the light, which is great. And it just gives you so much more flexibility in what this light can go and cannot go. The other thing is the Vitopal does have a magnet on the back as well. And you know, let's go take a look real quick at what that magnet is, just so you can kind of see, so I can make that make sense. Okay, so here I am, and I want to talk now about the magnetic backs on the back of each of these lights. Now, both lights do have magnetic backs. You can actually see I have a metal door here, and I'm being able to get all of them basically placed on there. And they're pretty sturdy. I can swing this door all the way out pretty fast. I'll come back, I can swing it shut again, and you can see both of them hang on pretty well to metal objects like that. However, the Aputure MC has a much better magnet if you need it for magnetic surfaces. And really, you know, you can feel it right away. I mean, this is just on there so hard and tough. Whereas the Vitopal P6, while it is on here, I'm going to close the door just so it stops swinging on me now. But while the Vitopal P6 is on there, it's not that super strong. And here is the key difference between the two of them. The Vitopal P6, for it to be a viable magnet light, you need to make sure that whatever metallic thing it does covers the entire surface area of the light. Which means, guys, sorry, but you're not going to be able to use this on C-sands. And I'll show you that here. This is the Aputure, and if I take it here, I'm going to turn around. I can put the aperture, and if you look, the aperture is actually so strong, it can have most of the body not even on there. And if you need to do it vertical, you're completely good. It's on there, it's solid. I feel very, very good about that. However, I'll put that there. When I take the Vitopal and try and put it on there, you will see it just sort of, the magnet, it's just not enough. The surface area of this thing is not good. So you can't put it on metal poles like that. So if you are using this Vitopal P6, you're going to need to put it on things like metal doors, or honestly, if you're in a place that has exposed metal beams, that should be fine. But if the surface area that you're putting on is smaller than the light itself, then it's just not going to, the magnet on it doesn't really work that well. So definitely something to know. I would have to give the Aputure MC a win in that. But it is nice to know that I still have in a $19.99 light, something that can still let me get some options in there like that. So let's go and keep on looking at this. Okay, and if I continue to really look at these lights in a head-to-head comparison, I've got to talk about the intuitive ease of use of using these. And I will be honest, the Vitopal, in my opinion, has such a more intuitive and easy way to use it. I can literally just, I can cut it on, and it's just so easy to switch between my modes. I can really go to everything so much faster. The Aputure MC is a little bit more funky. I mean, if you want to switch between your basically bicolor or your effects or your RGB, it's just not as naturally intuitive. You got to kind of hold it down here, and then you can switch through. It's not like it's super hard to figure out, but I definitely have to give the Vitopal the win as far as it's just a lot easier to work with and figure out right out of the bat. So as far as ease of use goes, they're both great, but on the body itself, I give the Vitopal the win. That being said though, the Aputure MC does have access to the incredible Aputure apps, which make this thing way easier to use and do. And really one of the big drawbacks to this Vitopal is that it doesn't have any kind of app you can access in remote places. That's something I would love to see, but for $19.99, I kind of get it. But as far as on-body use, I give it to the Vitopal just for ease of use. Anyway, that all being said, my final conclusion on this is an amazing little light for $19.99. I actually love lights, I guess, because of where I use them. I use these things as little accent lights all over the room, and having that ability to get quantity, which is really important, because if I walk in a room, sometimes I want to light 4 or 5 different little areas, and being able to so affordably get it and light this not only as bicolor, but RGB, I think is a steal. And the fact that I can get 4 of these for less than the price of one of these is something that I definitely will be keeping in my bag on all my shoots going forward. The Aputure MC is still a great light, and it has purposes, and the app and the magnets are things you're probably going to still want to have a couple of these on hand as you go, but I almost see it as it doesn't need to compete. This is a very powerful, awesome light that can be really accented, and you can essentially expand your ability for what you do with these lights as well. So I would definitely recommend it. I was really impressed. I did not expect much from a $19.99 light, and it really, really far exceeded what I thought it would do. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about that. I hope that was helpful if you're out there trying to find your lighting stuff. I'd love to hear comments from you. Go ahead and reach me. Let me know how you're doing. Yeah, guys, go out there, keep on shooting, and yeah, I'll talk to you soon.